The New York Rangers seem to have had some pretty good selections in the 2024 NHL Draft. Although they did not have an abundance of draft picks, they may have found a steal in the fourth round with prospect Raoul Boilard, a player out of the QMJHL, the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. And Raoul seems like a possible steal, as he was a guy kind of projected to go more towards that kind of second/third round kind of range there. The Rangers get him in the fourth round, which seems like quite good value for a prospect of this caliber. So we're going to take a look at kind of Raoul in depth here, take a look at his height, weight, where he's played, kind of the stats he's put up there, his kind of draft rankings, pre-draft that actually happened there, as well as kind of take a look at his play style and what I think his potential could be at the NHL level. So let's get right into here on the player breakdown of Raoul Boilard, the fourth round pick by the New York Rangers, and the second pick that was taken by the Rangers in the 2024 draft. So let's get right into the video here. The Rangers originally had the pick number 127 in the fourth round of the 2024 draft, but they decided to use their seventh round pick in 2026 alongside that fourth round pick, number 127, to move up 8 spots to swap picks with the Nashville Predators. So the Rangers use a seventh round in 2026 and pick number 127 to move up to pick number 119 with the Nashville Predators. So not a bad move at all there. Moving up 8 spots, only using a seventh rounder in a couple years is not a big deal at all. So they end up getting their guy there in Raoul Boilard, who seems like a pretty good draft pick and honestly could be a possible steal one day. Taking a look at where he was on some draft rankings before the draft actually happened, NHL Central Scouting among North American skaters, they had him at 51st. Future Considerations had him at number 78. Elite Prospects, 56. You have Andrew Forbes, number 90. You have Dover Prospects, 37. And Bob McKenzie, number 74, as well as Pete Barattacini's, he had him number 40. So a lot of guys had him quite high there, more of like a, kind of later second round pick to an early kind of third round pick for the most part there. He truly does seem like, draft rankings wise, a bit of a steal. Great value there for the Rangers, and definitely seems like a guy who has a pretty good ceiling there, a good floor as well, and could definitely develop into a very solid player at the NHL level one day. And at the end of this video, I will kind of give you my kind of projection on him, on what he could be at the NHL level, just kind of my thoughts and opinion on this player. But I definitely think this is a great pick there by the Rangers to get some very good value in the fourth round after not having, a second or a third rounder. Getting a guy of this caliber seems like a very good selection. He also ended up helping his team, the Bay Como Drakkar, get all the way to the QMJHL finals, where they unfortunately ended up getting swept by Drummondville Voltigeurs. They go on to the Memorial Cup there. The decent, but overall, they had a pretty great playoff run there, and he was definitely a big part of that. They only ended up losing one game in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, before they obviously ended up losing in 4 games in the finals of the QMJHL, the Drummondville team, but still had a great playoff run there. Only ended up losing 5 total games in 4 rounds is not too bad at all. He ended up being a big part of that team and definitely was a pretty big reason why they went so far. And Raoul is still only 18 years old. He does not turn 19 until January, so still quite young. He's actually born in Sherbrooke, Quebec, Canada, which is the exact same place where New York Rangers arguably top prospect was born, Gabe Perreault. So that's pretty cool. They're both from the same place. He's also a 6'1", 190-pound left-handed shot centerman there, so decent size, not some giant like Dylan Rubrick is, for example, another Rangers prospect who is 6'7", but still some pretty good size, so definitely not an undersized player, which is quite nice. I have seen some sites list him at 6'2", so something around that 6'1", 6'2" range is kind of what I'm guessing he's at. His pre-draft year back in 2022-2023 ended up playing in the BCHL over in British Columbia, Canada. Ended up playing the junior league over there. Not the WHL, but the kind of the step below that. He ended up having 23 games played with the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. 23 games played, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. Not too bad. With another team there in the BCHL, ended up having 25 games played, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. But then took a massive step up into the QMJHL this past season in his draft year, ended up putting up some phenomenal numbers for a 17, turning 18-year-old. Obviously turned 18 in January, so half the season was pretty much as a 17-year-old. Ended up putting up some phenomenal numbers there. 68 games played with Drakkar, 22 goals, 40 assists, 62 total points, and in the playoffs there, on their run to the finals in the QMJHL, he ended up having 17 games played, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 total points. So not too bad there at all. The numbers dropped off a slight bit there in the playoffs, but still put up some pretty good overall numbers for a guy who was known as a pretty good two-way center. He is a guy who has a pretty good all-around, kind of well-rounded game there, which is quite nice. He's known as a good playmaker. He's got good vision there, a very quick decision maker, likes to have the puck and then kind of pass it off pretty quickly. Doesn't love holding on the puck for too long. Has some very good skill there. Very smart player away from the puck as well, which is quite nice. He's got good hockey IQ, Pretty solid distributor overall, and definitely could be a kind of power play 2 guy possibly at the NHL level, but definitely a solid power play guy at moments. He is one of the better kind of face-off takers in the entire QMJHL, which is quite nice. A very good guy in the draws. He ended up finishing last season with a 57.6 face-off win percentage, which was one of the better ones in the entire QMJHL. Of the players in that league who took at least 900 faceoffs in the 2023-2024 season, he finished with the 6th highest faceoff win percentage with 57.6, which is quite phenomenal. And he was the only rookie in that league as well, other than one other guy, to finish with at least 50%. And that other guy ended up finishing in 19th place with 51.9. So a massive jump up there. He was a top 6 guy in the entire QMJHL faceoff percentage-wise, which is not too bad at all. One of the better faceoff takers in that entire league. He's also a pretty solid kind of defensive guy as well. Good two-way center, good defensive, and also pretty good in all 3 zones as well. His own zone, the offensive zone as well as kind of the neutral zone. Pretty good in all 3 areas there, which is quite nice for a center. You got to be good in all areas, and that's exactly what he is. He needs to kind of work on his skating a bit there, but is still fairly fast and has decent edge work. Just kind of getting better in that kind of area is probably the one kind of main thing with his game right now that definitely needs to kind of step up in. But pretty good goal scorer there, great playmaker. That's kind of the main thing with his game is his playmaking ability offensively. And now we have a quote here from Raoul kind of talking about his overall kind of play style post-draft. He ended up saying, quote, "I'm a defensive center. I've got some offensive tools. I'm a good playmaker. I'm good at faceoffs. I'll continue to develop to be a two-way center." That's kind of what I think it can be as well. A solid kind of middle 6, second or third line kind of centerman, playing with a good, really good all-around kind of game. They're good defensively, good offensively, good in the neutral zone. Could possibly be a kind of power play 2 or kind of PK 2 player at the NHL level is kind of what I'm guessing. I don't think he's ever going to be a elite kind of shutdown centerman, but can definitely be a good defensive guy. Possibly end up being a kind of penalty kill guy at the initial level. Same thing with the power play there. Possibly kind of like a kind of power play 2 kind of guy. I don't think he's ever going to be a elite threat on the power play, but power play 2, PK 2 is definitely a possibility. And just be kind of really good, well-rounded kind of two-way center. Good offensively, good defensively. Not elite in one kind of zone there, but just an all-around really solid two-way center, possibly being on that second or third line potentially. And I do think that he joins a pretty great kind of center prospect pool highlighted by guys like Bryce McConnell-Barker, Dylan Rubrick, and Noah Laba. We right now, I would say, have 4 really solid kind of center prospects currently in the system. BMP, Rubrick, and Laba are all very solid. Kind of all of them are pretty solid two-way as well, which is quite nice. Most of these guys are pretty great face-off takers as well, especially Bryce McConnell-Barker there. Dylan Rubrick's pretty good in that area as well, and same thing with Laba. So some really good kind of two-way centers here that we have in the system. All of them are above 6 foot as well, which is quite nice. They all got pretty good size, especially Dylan Rubrick, who is 6'7". And for Raoul's kind of development path, I would imagine he spends the next 2 seasons in the QMJHL and then probably has at least 1 season of playing pro hockey in the AHL before he ends up having a chance to make the NHL team with the New York Rangers. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. If you want to see more kind of prospect kind of news and talk and updates like that, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below your thoughts on this Rangers prospect who I honestly think could possibly end up being a steal. He seems like a very good kind of value draft pick in the 4th round there. Trading an extra 7th rounder for him is not a bad idea at all. So I think overall, this should be a very good draft pick and could possibly end up being a steal one day for the Rangers at the NHL level. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.